Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zolotech, and today Apple released iOS 13.5 to the public. This is available to all devices that support iOS 13 from the iPhone 6S Plus all the way to the iPhone 11 Pro Max.
咁啊，支援 iPad 咧就 iPad Air 2啦，第二代啦 ，iPad Air 第二代啦，第三代第三代啦 ，iPad 第七代啦 ，iPad Pro 2020年嗰部機啦。咁啊 ，iPhone 方面就 iPhone 6S、6S Plus、iPhone 7、7 Plus、SE、iPhone 8、iPhone 8 Plus、iPhone 10、10R、10S、10S Max、11、11 Pro、11 Pro Max。同埋2020年嘅 iPhone SE 都支援呢個 version 嘅13.5。咁而家趁佢 load 緊嘅時候，我哋就睇住條片先。
So this is available right now to download and install either through iTunes Finder or over the air, like I did here. Now this came in at 4.16 gigabytes on my iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it was anywhere from 3 to 4 gigabytes on these devices, and that's because they were coming from the beta. Now if you are on the beta or Beta 3 or 4, one of the
如果你係iOS 13.5 GM 咧，咁你就可能有呢個 version 噶啦。咁啊，你係最早嘅
versions. It's going to be a large install. It will be much smaller if you're coming from iOS 13.4.1. You do not need to uninstall the beta profile or anything. You should just be able to check for an update by going to Settings, General, Software Update, check for an update, and you should have it, and you'll be able to install it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build number. The build number
咁啊 update 完之後會講嗰個 build number 啦。咁 going to beta to final。咁你陣間我 update 完之後咧，咁我哋就會再睇佢究竟係點啦。咁佢 build number 會係 17F3、17F75，呢個就係個 software 嗰個 build number。咁 build number 之後咧，咁會咩 model update 係你今次啲 beta。不過嚟近咧會有一個喺iOS 13.4.1嗰邊有 update 嘅 ，basically 咧就係啦。咁跟住有關於
also tap on share。
咁你可以咧分享 music 落 Instagram 嗰度噶啦，有啲音樂嘅故事啊，咁樣可以 share 落去 Instagram 都得㗎。咁跟住影相啦嗰方面咧就而家 Face ID 咁啊，如果你用緊11。iPhone 10啦、10R 啦、11、11 Pro、11 Pro Max 嘅朋友，大家可以大家要留意，咁你就可以咧，以 Face ID 咧就係俾咗一個 passcode， 咁啊就快少少，至少你戴口罩嘅話，咁啊俾個 Face ID 或者打 passcode， 咁啊都可以咧，就唔使咁麻煩啊。如果對個問題嘅話。
And will prompt me for my password. This will work in everything from unlocking your phone to also working with Apple Pay and applications.
連Apple Books 買書啊 Apple Pay 都用得㗎。
Face ID as well. So they've made it a little bit easier of having to swipe.
咁簡單少少啦。
Down at the bottom of settings down here and go to FaceTime. Down at the bottom of Face.
咁啊，跟住會講個 FaceTime 嗰個問題 ，FaceTime 啦，之後會講個 FaceTime 有啲 update 嘅，一陣間要講，係啦 ，FaceTime 嘅問題 ，FaceTime 啦。新嘅 feature 啦，咁有啲 bug fix 咗嘅。
Features are concerned. And messaged someone.
咁啊 text message 啦 ，crash bug 啦，就 fix 就維修咗。咁亦都 fix 一啲 issues 啦，係一啲睇下跟住不黑嘅畫面啦，有時 view stream video 喺嗰啲 website 啊或者網站啊睇嘅時候，咁啊 suggestion action 啦 ，lock loading 喺個 sheet 都 fix 埋啦。咁啊 security 同 security 喺個 mail 度亦都fix 咗啦 ，bug fixes。咁跟住亦都會下一 part 會講 iOS 13、iPadOS 13.5呢個只係適合俾iPad 嘅人睇嘅。
As far as iPadOS, there's nothing different other than what I've already mentioned, with the exception of contact tracing. It doesn't seem to be on the iPad. So if you go to privacy and you find health, there is no health because Apple pretty much changed. Now, as far as battery life thing. So if we take a look at battery life, you'll see my battery health is 98% after get 10 to 12 hours.
Performance,
or maybe an I. So for example,
咁 performance 啦，咁啊跟住一啲 features 有關於 iOS 13嘅 version 啦 ，iOS 14咁跟住會講啲 conclusion。咁睇完嘅話咧，就記得咧去 Store 睇嗰度撳 subscribe，然後跟住要記得撳埋鐘仔，留意住最新嘅片段啦。 咁啊冇記錯，大家如果你有睇蘇路提啲片咧，咁啊或者 Apple 啊近排出新嘅 MacBook Pro 啊，咁得閒分享下啦。咁啊之前咧就出咗13.5啦 GM 啦，出咗13.5 Beta 4啦，跟住有 GM 啦 ，WatchOS 6.2.5啦，咁之前出咗。咁啊，跟住就到 iOS 13.5嗱，呢個係最新嘅。
Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this previous week there was a lot of information released all the way up to today about new leaks on the iPhone 12, its display, iOS 14, watchOS 7, and maybe even some AR glass.
嚟緊咧就 iPad 會出嚟緊咧 iPhone 就出 iPhone 12 Pro 第一部 5G 嘅手機，咁啊，但係有人話咧就唔好買喎，真係落架，但係真係有人話唔好買。係咪真係唔好賣？咁啊，睇下得閒咧，我哋會睇下收題分析完之後咧，之後就會俾答案俾大家。咁啊，大家俾翻 comments 先。咁啊，同一個時間咧，我哋都會睇兩面牆嘅。咁啊，開咗提醒功能最緊要係。咁啊，當
那個常見嘅
呢就唔好意思啊。嗰個係啦。講到iOS 13.5啦，都有啲嘢 update。
Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech. Today, Apple released iOS 13.5 to the public.
咁撈完之後，我再會整俾大家睇下有幾點啊。咁趁我部機 set up 緊嘅時候咧，就撈緊嘅時候咧，咁啊播完片先啦。咁佢可能係。咁啊，趁而家咧，我做緊嘢啦，咁大家睇住條片先，咁啊，大家欣賞住先啊，冇辦法。
iTunes Finder or over the air like I did here. Now this came in at 4.16 gigabytes on my iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it was anywhere from 3 to 4 gigabytes on these devices, and that's because they were coming from the beta. And after 6 months here. Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 13.5 to the public. This is available to all devices that support iOS 13 from the iPhone 6s Plus all the way to the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And so this is available right now to download and install either through iTunes Finder or over the air like I did here. Now this came in at 4.16 gigabytes on my iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it was anywhere from 3 to 4 gigabytes on these devices, and that's because they were coming from the beta. Now, if you are on the beta or beta 3 or 4, one of those versions, it's going to be a large install. It will be much smaller if you're coming from iOS 13.4.1. You do not need to uninstall the beta profile or anything. You should just be able to check for an update by going to Settings, General, Software Update, check for an update, and you should have it, and you'll be able to install it. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the build number. The build number is 17F75, and this particular build brings a few new features along with some bug fixes as well. So we'll go over them one by one, but before we talk about that, there is no modem update if you're coming from the beta. You may have a modem update if you're coming from iOS 13.4.1 to fix issues like connectivity, for example. So if you were having problems, they hopefully will be resolved with this issue. Now also, people were asking me, is this update going to fix the VPN issue that we were having as far as not having secure data? And unfortunately, no VPN company has responded to say that yes, it was fixed, and Apple has not mentioned it. So it may or may not be until someone confirms that. So once they do, of course, I'll let you know. Now, the first feature has to do with music. So if we go into music and maybe we're playing a song, if we want to share this song to Instagram stories, we now have the option. So if we tap on the three dots here, tap on share, you'll see that we have the option for Instagram. You'll also have the option for Facebook if you have that. So if you tap on Instagram, it will create the story, and then it will go over to Instagram, and it will share the story. So you can share this as a story to Instagram stories or Facebook stories. So it's a nice little update. It just makes it a little bit easier if you're trying to do that. Now the next thing has to do with Face ID. Face ID usually it takes a few swipes up to get to the password.
咁啊，搞掂啦。個 iPad 就搞掂啦，咁啊撈好啦，要啲時間撈嘅。
Now just swipe up, it recognizes that I have a mask and will prompt me for my password. This will work in everything from unlocking your phone to also working with Apple Pay and applications that require Face ID as well. So they've made it a little bit easier if you're wearing a mask. Maybe you're in a store and you want to pay using Apple Pay. It will be easier. Instead of having to swipe up multiple times, it should just recognize you have a mask and be much quicker. Now, the next thing has to do with FaceTime, and a lot of people are using group FaceTime, and so they've added an option to change what's called automatic prominence. So if we go to Settings, and then we go to our settings down here and go to FaceTime. Down at the bottom of FaceTime, you'll see it says automatic prominence. And it says during group FaceTime calls, the tile of the person speaking will automatically become larger. And so you can turn this on or off. If you just want to have everyone speaking at once and you don't want the tiles to change constantly based on who's speaking, you can turn that off. It's just a simple tap, turn it on or off. And it's a nice little option for those of you using large group calls. Now, with iOS 13.5, Apple has added exposure notifications for contact tracing. Now, keep in mind, this is turned off by default and cannot be turned on automatically. There is no way to turn it on without your approval. So if you go into Settings, and then you go down to Privacy. Under Privacy, go to Health, and you'll see Exposure Logging. If we go into this, you'll see it's off by default. And unless you have an app installed that wants to use it, maybe your country has an app they want you to use or something like that, it cannot be turned on. So you need to install that app. Then it will ask you if you want to turn it on. It cannot be installed automatically. Now, this will work across iOS and Android phones to let you know. And you can go to exposure checks to see any exposures. So again, it's voluntary, it's completely private, and turned off by default. Now, the next thing to go along with Health, Apple has added some updates. So if we go into the Health app, the first time you open it at the top, it will say Emergency Access to Medical ID. We can review the access to medical ID. And again, this is off by default and only allowed if you want to use it. It's been there for a while, but they're just asking you if you want to review this due to another feature I'll talk about in a moment. So you can review...
咁首先睇咗個咁首先係 setting 實際軟件更新啦。咁已經行到最新版本係13.5。iPadOS 咁個 build number 係點咧？係17F75係冇錯啦，係個 build number 係冇錯，係呢個名啦。
Medical ID, put in your information if you want to.
咁有啲 bug fix 咗啦，係有關於 FaceTime 啦，咁同埋嗰啲 Quest bug 啦，咁test message 啦，個 Quest bug。咁FaceTime 嗰度啦，正在説話啦，自動顯現嗰度咧都有得 set 嘅，來電公司嗰啲咩永不嗰啲嘢。
Has been a black through Safari and trying to play issue in the share sheet. So if you go to, with the exception of contact tracing, it doesn't seem to.
咁跟住咧，你去如今你跟住到講到 iPadOS 啦，咁首先去到呢個 privacy， 即係私隱嗰度，咁呢個係冇 health 嘅，因為嗰個 app
on the iPad. So if you go to that on the iPhone, not the iPad, it work here. On the previous beta, it was quite good for.
咁其實就冇乜嘢睇啫咁最緊要就係個 FaceTime up 嘅啫，咁跟住到個 battery life 到個電池嘅容量先，而家現時電池百分比咧，咁現時你嘅用量咧係49%啊，用得好多啊。例如今日啦，今日嘅活動啦就5月21號啦，最呢個時間最高峰嘅，因為到電量都幾高㗎。尤其是 UT app 啦，中咗20% 啦，個 Zoom 都中咗啲20幾%，其實主畫面都係其他嗰啲得1% 嗰啲啫，好少嘅其實。咁曾經都連接個器嘅，咁其實都幾高電量㗎，整日嘅電量。過呢10日咧嘅用電量啦，都平均螢幕關閉就2至8分鐘啦，7個鐘嘅螢幕開啟嘅。咁係啦，如果太高嘅時候咧，就會最好都係降低翻嘅時間。
Seems to be. So screen off time refers to maybe playing.
冇歌啊。
I had.
Performance
as far as going in and seeing
Minecraft 都 OK 啊。
Any issues because iOS 14, while it will be see those. Now, as far as future versions, many people have asked me, is iOS 13.5 the last one? And I would say probably not. Usually, Apple will update these until the fall or autumn, meaning iOS 13.
個 iOS 13咧就會update 到秋天啦，咁跟住就會有新嘅 iOS version 出啦，就係iOS 14咁
0.5.1 or maybe even a 13.6 because iOS 14, while it will be shown in June at WWDC,
嚟緊咧 iOS 14會喺6月啦 WWDC 嗰度 個簡報會舉行㗎。咁啊，有關於 iOS 14嘅。
And with iPadOS 14 and
iPadOS 14咧
watchOS 7, Apple does not release it to the public until
release 嘅。
So watching this video, expect an update. 13 will have all the new features and things like that. iOS 13 is basically just stability and bug.
其實係 ability 同 bugs 啦，咁 conclusion 咧。
It's a huge change, like fonts and slight movements and pixels and things.
咁啊喺呢上面個控制中心其實冇改變嘅。
But in general, don't expect a huge change until as I always do.
咁啊睇完嘅片，睇完嘅頻道咧，睇完嘅嘢記得撳翻 subscribe。咁跟住仲有啦，唔記得撳鐘仔，撳翻鐘仔睇住留意最新嘅頻道嘅資訊啦。咁跟住仲有記得唔好留意下 Facebook 啦、Instagram 啦，咁記得睇翻 YouTube 嘅睇完嘅話，俾翻 comments 或者俾翻 like 啦。As always，多謝大家收睇，我係 Aaron，咁下集見啦。